Hope everybody is having a fantastic weekend. We are back with another edition of Cubs Daily. My name is Steven Ryan. The Cubs get back on track with a 3-1 victory over the Pittsburgh Pirates. Shota Imanaga does his job. The offense gets enough on the board to get the win. Cubs have a chance to win the series tomorrow. We'll break down the game today. We'll talk about some of the high points, and we'll preview the game series finale tomorrow at 1:20. But before we get into all that, just want to give everyone a big time shout out. Continuing to watch the videos, I truly, genuinely appreciate it. We're building something special here at Cubs Daily. Continue to share your thoughts. Whether you agree with me or not, I am happy to read all of the comments. So just a big shout out to all of you who continue to show up for the channel on a day-to-day basis. I truly do appreciate you. So, Cubs are back on track. We get a 3-1 win. You know, it wasn't pretty. It wasn't sexy, but wins are wins, especially here in the middle of August when it just seems like 9 years ago when we last won a game, the Cubs were able to get off the board. I mean, I had my parents in town today, and they were like, how many of the Cubs lost in a row? And I was just like, 2 in a row. But it feels like when they lose 2 in a row, they lose like 6 in a row, right? And that's just how good the Brewers are playing and all of the other competitors in the National League as well. But the Cubs get on the board today with a nice win. There were some positive signs. Yes, it wasn't a blowout. But at this point, I'm not looking for blowouts, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just looking for wins. And even though it's the Pirates and you should be taking care of the Pirates, the Cubs got it done. So let's start off with our main man, Kyle Tucker, who has been struggling here as of late. I know you don't want to talk about it. You don't want to talk about the injury. Fine. But you know what? Today, he had 2 hits. He scored 2 runs. He had a big stolen base in that 8th inning. Something I'm hoping it clicked for the next few weeks here, for the next month or two for Mr. Kyle Tucker, obviously. And I'm sure he hopes for it as well. You saw after he got that first hit in the, I believe it was the 2nd or 3rd inning, he came around the base. He was like, finally got a hit, which was excellent to see. It kind of just relieved some pressure off of his shoulder. There was a couple balls that were lined really hard right at people. I'm just like, God, this team cannot catch a break. But Kyle Tucker, I'm not going to call it a breakout. I'm not going to call it a breakthrough. But it's a start, and it always has to start somewhere. Maybe back at the end of the year, we'll look back on this game as the turnaround point for this Chicago Cubs club. Again, we talk about turnaround points, right? They're playing 500. It's not pretty. I'm not saying it's nice, but it's way better than we've played in years past. I'll just say that much for sure. So good to see Kyle Tucker get a couple of hits. It was also good to see Seiya Suzuki drive him in the 8th inning for the go-ahead run. And I don't know what the heck the Pirates were thinking by walking Ian Happ, arguably maybe our worst hitter in the lineup, to face Nico Horner, who is our best hitters with runners in scoring position. I don't understand the move. I'm not going to question it. I'm just going to take my wins. So sometimes you need to be a little bit lucky to get wins. And, I hate saying that, especially facing the Pirates and where they're at as an organization. But, that's a different topic for a different day. But, hey, Cubs get the job done. That's all that matters. Kyle Tucker did really well. Let's talk about the other part of that equation, though, right? The person who really did a great job, Mr. Shota Imanaga. Shota was an absolute beast today, ladies and gentlemen. 7 innings pitched. The only hiccup was that home run to Tommy Pham. And, fun fact, this was the Cubs' first come-from-behind victory since July 2nd. Before July 2nd, the Cubs had 23 come-from-behind victories. And yes, come-from-behind is a very subjective term, right? You're down 1-0, you're technically behind. But either way, the Cubs have done it all year, besides this little portion. They've come from behind, and I'm just happy to see that we didn't waste one of Shota's starts, right? Shota has been absolutely sensational for this club. His last outing against the Cardinals, it did not go well in the sense of the Cubs winning when they absolutely should have won that game. But hey, it's baseball. It's a tough stretch. But again, 7 innings again, 3 hits, 1 earned run. He did his job, 6 strikeouts. Shota has been absolutely everything that this Chicago Cubs team has needed this year. Unfortunately, he did miss a little bit of that time. But Shota did a great job again, limiting the base path damage. Towards the end, though, you're starting to see the levee kind of burst a little bit, right? There was runners getting on second base, third base, etc. But he was able to work his way out of it. Stuff you'll love to see from Shota Imanaga, right? Again, I've talked about it before, right? If we go into a playoff series, a 3-game set, I'm very fully confident in Shota, Matt Boyd, and Cade Horton. Now, this is how I would line up my rotation just for a little fun preview. If you guys didn't see after the game, the Cubs are 21-3 in Shota's starts after a loss. Let me repeat that again. 21-3 after a loss in Shota's start. So, this is how I would line up the rotation. I would start off with Matthew Boyd. He is our all-star. He has been maybe the most consistent pitcher we've had all season. I know Shota would have been on that list. He just missed some time with an injury. But I'll go with Matt Boyd. Pending on the results of that game, if Matt Boyd wins, we start Cade Horton game 2. Okay? We start Cade Horton in game 2. If Matt Boyd loses, we start Shota in game 3. With that kind of numbers, we get to game 3. Or we start Shota in game 2 if Matt Boyd loses. And then we leave it all on the kid for game 3. That's a lot of pressure, I know you guys are saying, but pressure makes diamonds, okay? Plain and simple. Pressure makes diamonds. I would love to see Cade Horton thrive in that kind of environment. I want to see Cade Horton pitch in that kind of environment to watch his development, man. That's also a part of this, ladies and gentlemen. I know we all want a World Series title, and, sometimes you can't waste a chance to go win a World Series channel. I don't think the Cubs have wasted a chance yet, necessarily, but it takes patience. We need to see these guys continue to grow. Matt Shaw still has another level I think he can reach. I think Cade Horton has another level he can reach. PCA is still kind of getting back to that readjustment of Major League pitching. He's starting to look better, ladies and gentlemen. He took another walk today. He's starting to look more confident. It just takes time. There's progression stuff. There's levels to this stuff. So we have to remain patient, especially with these young cats as they continue to develop and become integral parts of this Cubs organization for years to come. So, we got the series finale tonight, right? It is going, not tonight, we have the series finales today. It's going to be at 1:20. Can the Cubs snag the series? There's no reason they can't. All right, Javier Asad's going to be going on the mound. It's going to be his second start this year. Obviously, his first start didn't go as well. I gave him a pass because he was facing an elite Blue Jays lineup who might get the number 1 seed in the All-American League. So, pass to that. It's a little bit different of a challenge here with the Pirates in the sense of it's not the Toronto Blue Jays. It's not the Milwaukee Brewers. It's not one of the hottest teams in all of baseball. Javier Assad should be able to hopefully get right against the Pirates. I believe they were supposed to start Andrew Heaney at one point earlier, but when I was looking at the projections here, it said they're going to face Mlansky or something like that. That guy has given us fits. It just feels like any NL Central opponent's going to give us fits, especially the way we've been playing over these past few months. So let's get right tomorrow. Let's get another dub. Let's take care of business, okay? The Cubs should win this ball game, and we should go into that series Monday against the Brewers. Heads high, ready to roll. It's a best of 5, okay? We're going to have to take 4 or 5 to really make some noise against the Brewers, but call me a homer. But I think the Cubs are up for the challenge. So we'll preview that series on Monday. That's going to be a doubleheader. I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your Sunday. I will talk to you all tomorrow.